Person that we've invited today that we think actually can give us a little bit of insight. We've invited Hugo Wood, who is Michael Wood's son, to just make a few remarks for us, because he's the only person who knows his dad when his dad is not flying and when his dad is not working, and who can give us a better insight into the man Michael Wood. So I'd like to ask Hugo to join us at the podium and just make a few remarks. Please, hands of applause. I mean, this guy's dad founded this organization. Thank you.
Thank you
so much.
Well, thank you, Nesta. I'm not qualified at all to be standing before you. I'm a farmer, and my elder brother was the medic, but sadly he's not here today. My father had terrible asthma. He was never happy or well in Europe, England mainly. And he came out here after the war, after his medical training, and he felt so much better in Kenya than he did in Europe that he decided he would stay. So it was from there that he started to wonder how he could make a difference. He always said, I don't want to make money, I want to make a difference. So he did his medical, he went back to Europe and did a course with Archibald Mackinder, who many of you would have heard of, who was famous for his plastic surgery with war, mainly pilots who were burnt badly in the war, and he because it was a sort of critical time in Europe, he could do a lot of groundbreaking surgery, and had learnt a terrific amount about skin grafting and how to recover from terrible burns. And he took my father under his wing and trained him alongside Tom Rees, who was an American, and the three of them concocted the idea of Amref and flying doctors. And in those early days, it was really a one-man band almost. He had an aeroplane and lots of radios in different missions, and would talk to them every day about their medical problems and whether he could help, whether they needed evacuating, whether they needed a surgeon to go. So it was very much a hands-on, single sort of operation, very small. And he was lucky to have Mackinder as Mackinder was a sort of star of Europe when it came to surgery, and he could open doors, he could raise funds. He was brilliant at getting the whole operation off the ground. Then, of course, there was the administration, which is so important, as even it is today, that the organization has a backup. Without decent administration, nothing runs properly. And I remember Bill Bumford, Dustin Omari, Doug Lackey, Mervyn Cowie, Maddie Dumont. Does anyone remember Maddie Dumont, who started the Flying Doctor Service, or Society rather, and ran it for many years. She was very effective at raising money. And Miriam Wary, all these people were part of the administration, making sure that the wheels didn't fall off, that the organization kept going, and that they could produce reports and accounts of what happened to the money, so that they could ask for more to keep the organization going. They were very important. There was also all the people who ran the aeroplanes, the pilots, Jim Heather Hayes, Joe Moran, Hugh Pryor, even Benoit. All these pilots were sent out to different mission stations and knew Kenya extremely well, and were an asset and would land on the most terrible strips all over Kenya trying to give out medical help. There's also those people who maintained the aircraft, like Colin Davis, David Matava, John Mungai. All these people I remember in my youth, managing to keep the spirit of Amref going. Then, of course, there was the donors, the people who actually helped raise the money, like Leonora Zemler, Sue Pretzlick, Liz Young, and another heroine that was in the past, but is also here in the present, is Nikki Blundell-Brown, which we all know. There's no better networker in the world than Nikki Blundell-Brown. So she has given her life to Amref and is much appreciated. Amref has got as far as it has because of the spirit of the people that run it, and I don't think that's any different now than what it was when it began. It is most important that it has these type of people in it who are not in it for the money. They're in it for their satisfaction in life and their spirit. And I believe that Amref will still be here in another 60 years, though some of us might not be. And we hope Bertie is here. He'll be the next 60 years. So thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all soon. All right.
Here, but what I want to do now is just sort of going forward.
I must appreciate that I have become fascinated by the writings of Michael Wood, actually. And I've been reading a lot of Michael Wood's books, and I want to read you a very quick paragraph here that was written by Hugo's mother, Susan Wood, about Michael when they were doing this book called No Turning Back. And she said, the stories in this book are about the early days. Michael was no professional pilot. So thank you, Hugo, for telling us that he didn't wreck any aircraft. We now know he wasn't a professional pilot. But he flew and navigated the skies without the modern aid of GPS. And somehow, against often enormous odds of weather and darkness, managed to reach his destination and the patients who awaited him. Michael's asthma, which you referred to, never left him, though it was greatly improved by the warm climate in Kenya. His life always had this aspect of endurance, and in both his flying, his surgical work, and his building of the flying doctor services and Amref, it was his courage and tenacity that saw him through so many difficulties and dangers. He says in one of the chapters of this book, this is Susan Wood writing, that when he was faced with the coming dark and threatening weather conditions, he says, and I quote, "I realized that I could not turn back." Not to turn back was the essence of his life and achievement. And as we look forward into the next 60 years, the same questions that Michael asked that 5 years ago, we are actually asking the same questions now as we formulate the strategy. I was having a chat with Hugo and Rachel, and I was saying the challenges of Africa, if Michael Wood was around, and God rest his soul in eternal peace, he would be asking the same questions he asked many years ago. And I see Professor Stella Anangwe nodding, because the same issues that Michael Wood reflects on in this book, which are the issues of primary health care, are with us today. Today, the biggest agenda for Africa's health, and that's what we spent the last 5 days discussing, is primary health care. It is not curative services. It is not how many hospitals we can build. It is how to reach the communities, to empower them, and to give them access to better health. That question is not going to shift. There's no turning back. The mission remains, and the question is, how do we achieve the mission? So with our new strategy, the thought that we have is how to achieve the same mission, but under different conditions, without turning back despite the darkening conditions that we are flying in. So we are shifting our way of working, not our mission. Because many people have asked, what does the new strategy mean? Does the new strategy mean that we are shifting our mission? And the truth of the matter is that our mission is not achieved, and therefore we cannot shift away from it. But how do we achieve that mission? We have to achieve that mission by kind of catalyzing domestic resources, catalyzing resources from communities, making sure that communities now participate. There is obviously growth in the economy, and there are people who can contribute, like they're doing for flying doctors now. Amref Flying Doctors is charging the people who can afford, and we are taking that money back to the community. How do we do that in every program that we do? How do we catalyze resources from the communities to serve those who cannot afford it? How do we help communities achieve universal health coverage? How do we do this? How do we create a revenue model that makes us self-dependent and not always go around with a begging hat when we have challenges in front of us? How do we put light in the coming dark?
We have something extraordinary to share with you, and we've been talking about it all evening, about not turning back. So I want you to look at the video, because this is what we have tonight to share with you. But when I say share with you, we're actually saying bye. So take a look at this clip. We should have one for everyone. We accept generous donations, 1,000 shillings and above. It can be 1,000 euros, it can be $1,000 Canadian or otherwise, but suggested donation. And I just want you to take a look at this clip, and this is what we're going to leave you with today.
His life always had this aspect of endurance, and in both his flying, his surgical work, and his building of the flying doctor services and Amref, it was his courage and tenacity that saw him through so many difficulties and dangers. Michael says, I realized that I could not turn back. Not to turn back was the essence of his life and achievement.
We have an offer here of $100. Hey, $100. 105 euros. Okay. Okay. How many euros?